Hey everybody, Brian Foote here. Thanks for joining, and remember to subscribe and stay through to the end because I'm going to give you not one quote but two quotes that I think sum up the answer to the question, what importance does market sentiment have for value investing and convexity investing? Market sentiment, I believe, is one of the most important things to think about when investing, and here's why. It's summed up in quote number one by Warren Buffett himself, who said, "Be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy." So if you think about a pendulum or a scale, right, when the market is at its maximum greed point, people are overpaying. People are rushing into stocks. People are bidding up assets and paying crazy multiples. There were periods across my career where this happened in an amazing way. 2000, the dot-com bubble was a main example, and it's an example that's brought up all the time, of investors being greedy. That was the time to be fearful. That was the time to have cash readily available, because the aftermath of that, if you look into 2001, 2002, some of the great technology companies that had been caught up in that bubble ended up being amazing value investments. And I'm talking about things that right now are considered the part of the Magnificent Seven. Look them up and look how they behaved in 2001 and 2 after the dot-com bust. The time to be greedy was the time where everyone was fearful. Where's another point of fear? Early 2009, right? After the global financial crisis took the market down and every asset was being thrown away. The time of maximum fear was when the S&P 500 went to 666. People were extraordinarily fearful. And at that point, everybody seemed to be bearish. The television pundits were talking about President Obama potentially nationalizing banks. People were fearful about the fact that banks could be shut down. In fact, banks had been being shut down every Friday night since late '08, right? The point of maximum optimism had already passed, and the point of maximum pessimism had come to the fore. 2020, right? People were justifiably fearful about the lockdown and the coronavirus and all of that. The point of maximum fear was reflected in some stocks being sold off at tremendous bargains. So the idea of being greedy when others are fearful means getting yourself into a mindset, getting yourself into a psychological frame where the more you hear about people being optimistic, you should be increasingly pessimistic, right? Because, and the flip side is when people are at a maximum point of fear, where every news article talks about the negatives, it's often a great time, especially when asset prices are low, to consider purchase, right? This is just contrarianism, but it's more than that, right? Because when everybody's rushing for the door to do something, that means that it's fully potentially realized, right? The second piece, the second most important quote regarding sentiment is this. And thanks for hanging out for 4 minutes with me. Buffett's quote, "The key to successful investing is to have the temperament of a poker player when you are not the house." Poker players cannot show their face or on their face their emotions, right? You want to, if you have a really lousy hand, maybe bluff your way into a better outcome. But the point of a poker player is you need to have a temperate mentality. When markets are going like this, or when your cards are coming out in a way that may not be reflective of the best possible hand, you want to have an even behavior pattern. So I'll leave you with that, right? The key to successful investing is to have the temperament of a poker player when you're not the house. Let the house always has some degree of edge, right? In a casino, in poker, the edge can come from temperament.